Hello, everybody. Michael Mills. Wish I was jumping on to talk with you about some positive news, but many of our fears about the dangers of federal government overreach have come to our community. I'm sure at this point many of you have heard about the recent ICE raid in Cato, New York, neighboring community, where a health nutrition bar company was raided under the premise that there was a violent illegal immigrant in the facility, battered down the door, and ended up rounding up upwards of 80 people. We're not sure where they're being held, not even really sure who's responsible and taking custody of these human beings, other than we know the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office and others collaborated with ICE to execute this raid. We should be infuriated. These are human beings who are working, who are trying to make a difference in their lives, in our lives, in the communities, many of them taking jobs that no American wants to or will do. These are masked agents who do not identify themselves, and if you watch the videos online, they seem to relish this independence and thumb their nose at people asking for identification. If you are a proud ICE agent, if you are a proud law enforcement agent like our police department here in Canandaigua or the Ontario County Sheriffs, who every day show up with their faces showing, with their badges, with their name tags, they care to do law enforcement the right way, and they are models. Instead, we have thugs that are raiding critical community businesses. We should also take note that the agriculture community is incredibly vibrant, incredibly central to our economy here in New York Senate 54, in the Finger Lakes, in upstate New York. According to Cornell's farm worker program, nearly 50% of people who work on farms here are undocumented. We need that workforce here. And so a couple of critical things. One, we need to make sure that these communities are complying with state law. As a member of Canandaigua City Council, I recently, as these concerns have been raised, reached out to our city manager to find our policy in the city. We follow New York Civil Rights Law 79, Executive Order 170.1, which ultimately further clarify that state and local enforcement are not to honor ICE civil immigration detainer requests unless they are accompanied by a judicial warrant. So there are some protections at the state level. As a state senator, I will fight hard to make sure that there are protections for due process under the law. We need to ensure that immigrants who are here working illegally but are trying to better their lives have a path to citizenship, and we must work with Congress to make sure that that happens. Let's follow the law. Let's ensure that people here who we need to have vibrant communities can be here safely, that our communities are safe with those people here, and that we stand up to thugs. I subscribe to the rule of law. We must follow it. The federal government must follow it. And I'm calling on Ontario County and other counties within New York Senate 54 to follow state law, to not comply and collaborate with thugs, but to do and work with duly sworn, identified federal agents, state agents, local law enforcement on things that need to be done. But let's keep these people in our thoughts. And one thing that if people do want to do something besides calling their local law enforcement, their local municipalities, to make sure that the law is followed, you can also attend a rally this afternoon between 1 and 6 in Seneca Falls. It'll take place at 136 Fall Street to show our support and solidarity for these folks who have been detained. So, a lot to cover, a lot to digest. I'm angry, we should be angry, and we should demand that common sense reign here. We need these folks to drive our businesses, to be vibrant parts of our community, and we need to make sure that there's a pathway for them to do that safely, securely, and that we all rise together.